So yesterday, while taking a break from playing futsal with my friends, one of my friends stopped me to say that he was moved by how open and vulnerable I was in the video where I was talking about my fear of raising my Blasian daughter here in Japan. And if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. But he actually wasn't talking to me about the subject matter of the video. He was talking to me about how open and vulnerable I was in the video, and how, in his experience, it's been really hard to find that kind of connection with other guys. And then I realized that I've actually been really privileged to be in communities or environments in which I can share really openly, my feelings on a variety of subjects with people close to me, whether that's my immediate family, like my cousins, my brother, my dad, or my immediate friend circle in high school, college, and now in the real world. But I realized that I've always found ways to connect with people who want that similar kind of connection. So today I actually just wanted to talk a little bit about vulnerability and what that means to me and what that word means. So I recently finished reading Brené Brown's book called Daring Greatly. And her definition of vulnerability is engaging in uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. And like I said, I feel like I've been privileged or lucky to be in environments where I've been able to do that since I was little. I went to this Christian camp when I was a kid called CYC up in Maine. I'm from Massachusetts. And we had this circle where, all the guys were sharing things that maybe they hadn't shared with other people about whatever it was they wanted to share. It might have been completely insignificant secrets, while some people told things that were, really heavy-hitting things about family dynamics or, trauma that they had. It was a really heavy experience as a 14, 15, 16-year-old, but after kind of years of going to this camp and being in environments with other men where we were able to share, deeply personal things, I realized that that is one of the most cathartic, connected experiences of my life. And since then, through college and again in my adult life now, I've always found myself in groups or communities where we're able to do that. An example more recently, we've got a group called Sogo Toko here in Tokyo, and it consists of a bunch of the male leaders within the Sogo fitness community. And in that group, we essentially talk about, relationships, careers, etc. And people share things ranging from, getting a new promotion to finding out his girlfriend is pregnant. So the degree and depth of conversation varies, but generally speaking, we're pretty open in the group. And that's how I've kind of always lived my life. I think anyone who knows me and has actually had a proper one-on-one with me knows I really like to get in there when I have conversations. I think it's one of the reasons I enjoy coaching so much. But anyways, all this relates to the fact that this guy told me he was moved by this video he saw and kind of how open I was in it. And so I wanted to take this opportunity to share with you guys why I think vulnerability is so important and why it's something that men don't get into as much as they should. The simple answer, and there's a lot of literature out there on this topic, so I don't mean to approach this as a specialist. I'm really just approaching it from my own personal perspective. Frankly, guys are supposed to be tough. Of course, we have the same emotions that women do, but we tend to deal with them differently. And most guys tend to deal with them very internally. Or they deal with them through exchanges with other guys, but they're not directly at the heart of the actual issue. And when I say issue, I don't mean the surface level issue like financial issue or surface level relationship issue or surface level familial issue, family issue. What I mean is like the underlying things, the things like, the shame or from, whatever, or the trauma they experienced at whatever stage, or, the real underlying issue. One thing I wanted to share with guys who maybe haven't had the opportunity yet to really open up with other guys is if you haven't had that opportunity and it's something that you're craving, I would just strongly encourage you to look for maybe a men's group in your area. There are at least two. I run one with a couple Sogo guys, and a friend of mine named Rob also runs one here in Tokyo. I don't doubt there are other groups. I'm just not familiar with their names because, frankly, in my case, having been so used to doing it since basically childhood, I think I've always found close circles of friends who are able to or open to doing that kind of thing. And so doing it within Sogo Toko or within Sogo was kind of a natural extension of the Sogo fitness community that myself and others had already built. So again, if it's something you've never done before, but it's something you'd be interested in doing. And again, I'm more or less specifically addressing this to guys. I can't encourage you enough to find a friend, group of friends, men's group, whatever it is. It could be a church community, whatever your thing is, that allows you to kind of open up and share. Because at the end of the day, whether or not we want to admit it, we are equally emotional creatures, and unless we have an outlet for those emotions that's ideally constructive, it'll manifest in other ways. And best case scenario, again, those ways are constructive, net positive, cathartic, good conversation. There's many ways to kind of get that out, but on the negative side, it's just burying it, and it's just going to grow and fester. So again, I'm shooting this video because I was moved by this friend of mine at soccer who spoke to me about issues he's been dealing with since youth, which revolve around anxiety and other issues. And it kind of came out of nowhere, but I think he had just seen my video maybe a few days ago or a week ago. And so it moved him, and he was kind of primed to open up and have that conversation with me. And then I realized, the benefit, the net benefit of sharing is that the more we share, the more comfortable we make others with sharing, in particular those who may not feel comfortable sharing. So even in shooting this video, which is pretty off topic from what I normally talk about, I'm really hoping that somebody or some people out there see this and realize it's okay to share how you feel, despite maybe what you've learned or known to be true through your childhood in particular. And it's very much okay to both be masculine and emotional, despite those two things not necessarily going hand in hand, typically. And I want people to know that, especially guys watching this, it's okay. And if you're not ready to go find a friend or, find a community that's open to having those kinds of conversations, I just encourage you to read about it. A book I'd strongly recommend, again, Brené Brown's Daring Greatly. I'll drop a link in the section below. It's an incredible book. I watched her TED Talk years ago, and it was hugely powerful for me. I'm the kind of person who I really want to continue working on being compassionate and empathetic and putting myself in the shoes of other people. I think it's obviously to an extent what I do as a coach, but also just as a person. So as a husband, as a father, as a brother, as a son, as a friend, community member, I really want to be able to engage with individuals and groups and really kind of put myself in their shoes, because I think it's through doing that we're able to see other perspectives. And really the only way to effectively do that is to expose ourselves to those people we are with. And by expose ourselves, I mean our true selves. And that can be difficult to do, especially if it's not something you've practiced before. So in a nutshell, again, this is quite off topic, but I'm sharing this because I really hope that at least someone out there, ideally a few people, go out and actually actively try to open themselves to others in ways that maybe they haven't before. Because believe it or not, it is one of the most fulfilling, rewarding, enriching experiences you can possibly take part in. But if you've never done it again, it can be scary. And it almost should be scary. And, really opening yourself up emotionally isn't necessarily something that ever gets easy, but it is something that gets easier with practice. So again, for you guys watching, I hope this is helpful. Again, the book name is Brené Brown's Daring Greatly. I'll drop the link below. She's an amazing speaker, author, and just a wonderful human being. She's a completely normal person who's just out there, crunching data and at the same time being wildly vulnerable. And it makes her, I think, a really special force out there for people, men and women, who are interested in diving deep and being more open. So hope this is helpful. If you guys have questions or comments, please drop them below. If you haven't seen that video I mentioned earlier, please go check that out. And obviously, if you haven't subscribed or liked this video, please do so now. And I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.